the 2000s called? They want you back.
Good. It's my time to shine. Hello, welcome back to I Don't Know What I'm Doing With My Life. I am your host, Aisa Hernandez.
And I'm Emily Lee, your co-host.
And we're going to talk about whatever we want because it's our show.
Period.
Anyway, so the big topic of this week, early 2000s. Now, we all loved it, or at least some of us, because some of us couldn't remember. But to be specific, we're going to talk about the advances in technology in music during the early 2000s. Now, what do you know anything about that?
Not much.
I thought so. Well, let me reapply my lip gloss, because you have to. Oh, here's some Beyonce heat. You need that. Cherry. Good stuff. But before we actually get into that, we have to Y2Kify ourselves. Obviously, we got the juicy, the inspired looking glasses. I have the 2009 Miley Cyrus jacket, dress shirt, whatever you want to call it. But I hoard things from my childhood. And one of the big things were silly bands. And they came out in, I don't know, like 07, somewhere around there. So.
What's a childhood without some silly bands?
These were currency in school. I don't know if you guys did this because, like I said, I'm older than you. Well, not us particularly, but a lot of people my age, silly bands got banned at their school.
Yeah.
It did for you?
Yeah, we got banned, and then we could also trade them.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. Then, on the same track. But it didn't get banned at our school. I'm surprised. We got banned from bringing, like, baseballs and softballs and all that, but never that.
We would walk around and flick each other's wrists.
That's probably why they got banned.
Yeah,
okay.
we were very violent kids.
Anyway, so with the start of the 2000s, what do you think was the big bring-in for 2000s music? Like, what do you think was the biggest advance at that time?
The biggest bring-in?
We'll say starting with 2000, 2001.
I would say American Idol brought the most interest into the whole industry. But the formation of, like, people being able to listen to music everywhere they go definitely expanded it a lot more.
All right. So actually, you were right. It is the CDs. Now, I had a collection, still have a collection, play them in my car. Did you have a collection as a child?
Just my mom's.
Okay.
I would break into hers and listen to some T-Swift.
Oh, girl. We listen differently. I was listening to Tupac. I was listening to Lil' Kim. No. I was listening to Keisha Cole. All them people. Okay. Well, we're going to get away from Taylor Swift because... Did Taylor Swift even come out in the early 2000s? Actually, I think she came out in like 2008, 2009-ish. Because I remember being in... kindergarten, and we had Putting on the Hits, and that's where you sing and dance and all that stuff, like you lip sync. And I remember somebody doing Love Story. They had terrible choreography, by the way.
Were the two songs that I remember singing as like a 3 or 4 year old.
I remember like the Tim McGraw one or something like that. Is that the one that has the slur that they edited throughout the years, or is it
The one with Tim McGraw is pretty good though.
I don't know. I feel like, is it Teardrops on My Guitar?
It might be.
I don't know. I'll have to ask my friend.
Good.
Anyway, so CDs, they became actually in the 80s. Like, they came to be in the 80s, which I didn't know that, because when you think back on music, you think of, on that time, you think of vinyls, you think of cassettes, 8 tracks for a hot minute.
Yeah.
You don't know what an 8 track is, do you? Okay, anyway. Well, people liked them because they have better sound quality. They were more durable than a record. Before, records were like the plastic, they were actually glass, so if you dropped them, they broke.
Wow.
I don't know if you knew that. Okay.
Mm-mm.
And they're easier to transfer, obviously.
Yeah.
So, they also had Walkmans back in the day. I know we had this conversation the other day that you didn't know what a Walkman was. Good. Walkmans were little thingies that you could put your cassettes in, and then they had CD ones, and then they really hit it off with the anti-skip ones because it didn't scratch up your CD.
Yes.
And
the CD things were my hit. I loved those as a kid. Me and my brother would argue about like who would get to use it for the day.
That is lovely. I don't have to worry about that. Okay, well, can you guess who the first CD, like, who released the first CD with music?
That's a good question.
This is,
Paula Abdul.
I love that answer for you, but it's not.
No!
Oh, don't get me started on that, guys. We'll get into that later. Actually, it was Billy Joel's 52nd Street album was the first CD sold on October 1st, 1982.
82.
In
Wow.
Japan.
Wow.
Japan was ahead of the game.
They really were.
They usually are.
Later.
So, that's cool. They called it futuristic. I mean, if you really look at a CD,
It really is,
It-
because
it
it
does.
transformed the whole music industry.
it really does. And it did. Actually, they pushed back CDs releasing, like, here in the US because they were so favorable of the vinyl and everything. And, like, cassettes.
Wow.
Well, you know, America's stubborn.
They are very stubborn.
We're very stubborn people.
Oh.
But when we get it right, though. I will admit.
We did get it right.
I mean, think about it. Think about all the people in the music industry, like, I mean, granted, people from other countries good, like Andrea Bocelli, Freddie Mercury from the UK, but I'm talking Michael Jackson, I'm talking Adam Lambert,
We got all the good ones.
whether you like her or not, Beyonce. Yeah, I'm iffy. I am. During the 2000s, 730 million CDs were sold.
Wow.
So when you really think about the impact of a CD, that's crazy. And that doesn't include the ones that people were downloading and making their own. LimeWire, everybody.
Did you ever do that?
No, I was too young.
Oh my gosh, my brother did that for me.
But my cousins did it.
Yeah.
My cousin, she passed, R.I.P. She had a 2000s mix one that she made. I have that. It's in the car now.
I love that so much.
Thank you. But they got replaced by MP3 players and other like sites, like I said, like LimeWire, other streaming sites, I guess.
Yeah.
They weren't like totally streaming yet, but you get the gist. Do you know how much they cost back then?
A CD?
Yeah.
I want to say like $8 to $10 maybe?
You're actually really close, kind of.
Wow.
There were $13 to $18.
Wow.
But actually, some of them could go over 30. So I'm assuming it depends on how popular you were. Because I feel like they also included like certain things back then. Like I know they had the booklets with like the information, the producers, the lyrics sometimes. At least some from like the 90s or 2000s have that. But yeah. Do you know what a single CD is? Like a CD single?
Just like a single album, no?
No. So the CDs usually would come with the albums and stuff like that, but a CD single is where, like for instance, Kelly Clarkson, she won American Idol. They had an album track, but before she made her actual album Thankful, the show released a CD single, and usually CD single has like 1 to 2 songs. So it gives like the audience a look of what the music kind of will sound like.
Like an appetizer.
Yes. So hers was I think I know for sure a moment like this, and they might have added Respect because that was the song she sang the most on the show.
Oh.
And those cost about $3 to $8.
That's a really good deal.
So, you know about the decline, right? Of CDs.
Yes.
So actually, in 2020, 40 million were sold, which was the lowest selling rate of CDs in 35 years.
Wow.
But to be fair, in 2020, we weren't really going out to the stores buying CDs,
No.
and nobody was really making albums.
Or leaving their house in general.
Yeah, I
Bluetooth
miss
really
that.
has just taken over the whole world.
I miss not leaving the house, though, sometimes.
Me too. It was a good excuse not to leave.
Yeah, but I really missed out on my junior prom, so it wasn't that fun.
Now we have an excuse to leave our house and listen to CDs today in your car.
Oh my god, you're right. I forgot about that. Anyway, we're going on a trip later. Do you know what came next after CDs?
iPods.
Roughly, but actually MP3 players from what I did my research. But they came out around the same time. The first commercially successful MP3 player was the Rio PMP 300. And do you know how much that thing cost?
Probably 200.
Yeah, you're actually on the money.
Wow.
Bro. And it held 30 minutes of music, and it was a 32 megabyte flash.
32 megabytes.
That's MB, right?
Yeah.
Okay, see, you know something I didn't. And it could play 10 hours on a single AA battery.
Wow.
I'm surprised it only took one. But to be fair, MP3 players are, actually I have one. It's not that. It is a Polaroid one. It's charging, so it's not going to turn on. Anyway, it had songs like Tell Me Something I Don't Know by Selena Gomez. Demi Lovato, I can't remember the song though.
My brother had one and it would die all the time, but when it was playing, it was so much fun to listen to.
That one is so old, it doesn't even, like, it doesn't work unless it's plugged in.
Oh my gosh.
It's so old.
I love that.
She's an old girl. It actually was made by Polaroid, and this one actually has 2 gigabytes.
Wow.
So it's probably like one of the cheaper, like, not good ones.
32 gigabytes is still really good for that little thing.
And then they upgraded to, the same people who had the first successful one, upgraded to 64 megabytes, and then they made it in translucent green. And that costs $250.
And I feel like that's where iPod got the idea to do all the different colors.
It probably was, but like in the early 2000s, and I would say that probably Apple did get inspired by that if they didn't create their stuff first. Like it was very loosely around the same time. They had like the translucent stuff, and it wasn't just Apple, it was like other stuff. They had like the translucent blue and pink and orange, like the old MacBooks, like the one on Legally Blonde.
Yes.
It was orange, right? I don't think it was pink.
It was.
I don't know, I feel like hers was orange.
Interesting. We'll have to watch
Somebody tell us.
Yeah.
Anyway, the MP3 players, just as the CDs, they changed the musical industry by bringing it to like a digital format, and they were more accessible. They changed the way that music was consumed, distributed, you know, like I said, accessed. So, and plus MP3 players were definitely easier to carry around than CDs. So I can understand why they took over. And then we can get in a little bit into music videos, because music videos is a big technology, although those were like big in the 80s.
Yeah.
And the first, ironically, the first music video that was aired on MTV was Video Killed the Radio Star. It was basically a song saying how music videos were killing the radio stars.
Really?
And I agree with that, because back in the, before the music video era, like you had to be really good at singing. You had to be a good singer, you had to be a good performer in your own way. But I feel like once music videos came, you got people who weren't the greatest singers. And yet, but if they could do like a good dance step, they were good. And they build big commercial. And you know, I hate to say this, but I love Paula. Not the greatest singer. I mean, especially at the time of Whitney Houston. But her debut album was the biggest debut album. She had 4 #1 hits off that album. Sold over 17 million copies with that.
Did they have the videos in that album?
Yeah,
Do
so
you think it was partially.
I think it definitely, because some people called her Video Vamp.
Wow.
So she had Cold Hearted, which had influences from all that jazz, the erotica scene. Opposites Attract was ahead of its time. She danced with an animated cat, which was not done. She had people from Disney and Warner Brothers come and paint it cell by cell. She actually won a Grammy for best video.
Wow.
For that.
Even the videography back then, I feel like also helped.
Well, she also brought the choreography. I mean, no pop girlies are doing it like that anymore. Like, they're doing a little simple 2-step. Like, I want dance heavy. I want it to look like Paula, Janet Jackson, Britney Spears.
A lot of the music videos now are more just telling the story of what the song is trying to say, compared to back then. It's
like, don't get me wrong, I love a good music video that's like a mini movie, because Reba did those. But I also like a dance heavy, like I said, Janet, Paula, Britney, stuff like that.
We need a good balance, but right now we don't have either.
No, we don't. Next, iPods. Did you have an iPod?
I did.
Like iPod Shuffle, Nano, or
Shuffle.
Like, oh, I didn't have that.
I loved it.
I had the iPod like 4th gen, so it had the screen. So, the first iPod Shuffle was released January 11, 2005.
Same year as me.
Oh my. Oh my god. The 2nd gen was released in September 12 of 2006.
Wow.
And the 3rd was in 2009. So they took a big break kind of for the Shuffle. The first one cost $149. And it was 1 gigabyte. And then they dropped it to $129 when the iPod Nano came out. You know what the iPod Nano is, right? It's the skinnier one with the little screen.
I actually don't.
Okay, well, it's just skinnier and it's longer, and it had a screen on there, and that was released September 7th of 2005. It had 16 gigabytes and it costed $149.
Wow.
Eventually, as they went on, like, they released them in pink, yellow, blue, green, purple, silver, and slate, which I don't know what slate is.
Like
Is it like a gray?
Dark gray.
Okay. And yeah.
That's really interesting.
And also with iPod Nanos, you could watch music videos.
Wow. So
So,
also
like-
that's kind of
So like when
contributing to
because eventually when it got into like I think it was season 8 of Idol, you were able to like go to iTunes and buy like maybe it wasn't music video. I don't know how because some people had like their performances on there. I think they might have been putting the performances on there. I'm not sure.
That's really
But
interesting.
I know somebody downloaded RuPaul's Drag Race. It was Coco versus Alyssa Edwards, and they were doing Cold Hearted. And that one's actually it's really big right now on TikTok. As if I was Paula Abdul herself. That's where that came from.
Wow.
So, you know what came with iPods and stuff like that, right? iTunes.
Oh yeah, of course.
Do you know actually how much a song cost when iTunes came out?
Wasn't it $1.99?
No, it was 99 cents.
Wow.
Yeah, so iTunes came out in January of 2009. You can get it on like the computers and stuff, but they had like the iTunes store up and running April 28th of 2003.
Wow.
And it was 99 per song, and it helped, with that, it helped selling music and all that stuff. Like, I feel like it was more accessible. Like, you didn't have to go to the store. You can just stay home and do that.
It's also
But I
cheaper
feel like
than
it
a
was
CD.
hard. Like, I don't know how people, like, could they just hook up their credit cards or their debit cards? I don't know how the buying thing went, though.
I'm trying to think, because my brother did all mine for me.
Yeah, if I had stuff like that, I didn't do it. I had other people do it. I should have asked beforehand. And then,
I feel like there was a way for him to hook it up to his PlayStation, and then you could see the screen or like download stuff and add it to,
that makes sense.
or kind of like a USB, how you download it on a computer. through
Yeah,
your
but I feel like
iTunes
you had to,
account.
but you had to pay.
Yeah, you pay on the computer, and then like it goes to your iPod.
Oh.
I could be wrong, but
Oh, well, anyway, and then they started selling music videos on there, May 9th of 2005.
how much
And
did the music videos?
99 cents as well.
Wow.
And then the first music video on there was The Antidote. It was by the Monchibas. I don't know how to say that, but I don't know. Now, songs are $1.29 and music videos are $1.99.
Wow. And then you have Apple Music, which is
A whole different thing.
yeah.
Well, people don't even buy stuff on iTunes anymore.
No.
The only person I honestly have heard buy stuff on iTunes lately was Trisha Paytas, because she was like, I am supporting the artist. Because streaming, it's so hard to make money off of streaming now. Like,
Really?
the music industry is so hard to make money now because of streaming.
So if you buy on iTunes, it goes straight to the streamer.
They get more profit, yeah.
Interesting.
With iTunes and streamings and all that, obviously easier access. You can create your own playlist, same as you did with the CDs, but less time.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, Apple Music, Spotify takes a second.
And it's a monthly subscription compared to 99 cents a song.
Yeah. But honestly, if I have a set, so I rarely add a lot of stuff to my music playlist now,
Mhm.
especially with certain playlists I have. So it's like, I wouldn't need that monthly subscription,
Right.
other than like the no ads. That would have been nice. And the digital era has literally decimated album sales. Like, nobody has to make an album no more.
Mm-hmm.
All they have to do is put out a single, and that's why like Adele has like 3.
Yeah.
I didn't know she had 3 albums until Sam told me.
She has very little.
And same thing with Cardi B, but they always have songs because they're releasing singles, because you don't need to make an album no more.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then they had to diversify the revenues.
Do you notice that's why there's so many less amount of people going on tour? They don't have as many albums. Think about it.
That's true. And the people that are out there are older acts. Like Janet's been touring for the past like 3 years and has a residency.
Mhm.
Kelly Clarkson's has a residency, but she's been relevant since 2002.
And for
Paula,
albums,
New
to
Kids.
come out, I feel like there's only 1 or 2 hit songs, and it's because those are the ones that are being promoted,
Yeah.
especially on like newer.
And
streaming
yeah,
services,
like TikTok really has a big effect on
it
people.
does.
Like, yeah, you know what? I see that. You're right. Okay, now you talked about Idol earlier. What do you know about American Idol? Because this is
It's your
this-
favorite show.
this was my show.
Season 5, I need to watch because of Daughtry, and
I gotta be very disappointed, because I was very
know.
disappointed, and I loved it.
Simon needed Botox earlier than what he got it.
No, no, no. He actually didn't look that bad until probably, Honestly, I think once he like the later seasons of like, when I say OG Idol, because I don't watch Idol anymore. I stopped watching after Paula Abdul left. It was not worth it. Trust, because she got replaced by Ellen DeGeneres.
No.
Like, if you're gonna be like on a reality competition show where you sing, you shouldn't be
mean, not Joy from Inside Out.
That's Amy Poehler.
They sound the same, to be honest.
No, they don't. No, but I think if you're going to be on a reality competition show, and I think what made the original show so good with the judges is that when it first started off, you know, Simon came from Pop Idol. Pop Idol was created in 2001 by Simon Fuller. It was brand new. Nobody really knew. The Queen used to vote for Pop Idol.
Wow.
It was rumored. So, it was a big show. And then they brought it to the U.S. because they said, who has great talent? The U.S. We always produce stars. And it's known for producing stars. And that was a direct quote from Simon. I don't know what season, but I remember it. Because he admitted it. So he came. He was an A&R guy and all that stuff. And all that. People liked him. Not. No, some people liked him and some people didn't. Because he was mean. But he was honest.
He was real.
He was honest. He showed the ugly side of the music industry, and there is an ugly side. Randy was the producer. He produced stars like Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey, and he was also in Journey. He played the bass. I don't know if he's an original member, but he was in it. And then the drawing was Paula. She was a choreographer. She was an ex-Laker girl. She was a pop star who, as we admitted, although had a small 3-album run, she made a big impact.
She did.
And people liked her because she was the nice, the nurturing, the mother. They always compared them as parents. Simon was strict, always wanting to please. Paula was the nice and nurturing. Randy was the cool uncle.
Mm-hmm.
And I see that. So actually, American Idol changed the music industry so much. People thought it would be the death of the industry. And I can see where it kind of can be. Because think about it. You have these 3 people picking thousands and thousands of people from an arena. They're going and they're auditioning, and then they go in front of the judges. They get to pick. They put you to Hollywood, and then it goes down to like, from there it goes down, and then you're in the top 30, and then after that America votes for you. So America has control.
Even if you don't win, though, in a sense you have a chance to win because so many producers and people that are looking for, so you still have a chance to.
Oh, they always said like if you were in the top 10 you were guaranteed like something. And we'll get into that in a second. So actually, in 2003, People Magazine ran a special edition featuring judges and the host, so Simon, Paula, Randy, plus Ryan Seacrest, to commence the show for being number 1. I'm sorry, but people talk about a lot of people taking jobs from other people. That man has $50 billion. He's the one taking the jobs from people.
Yeah, he is.
Do you know how much Ford actually put out money in ads and Coca-Cola?
Ford.
Yeah, by at least 2007.
At least 40 million.
60 million in ads.
Wow.
And Coca-Cola dropped 9 million. And that was told by, actually, I have it in here. So if you're a popular TV show, which I have my little iCarly bag. If you're a popular TV show, you have documentaries about it. This one is called American Idol Unauthorized, the real story behind America's favorite reality show, totally unofficial and uncensored. It has people who are past contestants, executives, other people that has to do with all the industry and all that. And then they also have this one, A Search for a Superstar, which has information on the first season. I don't know when that one was released. That's a story for another time. And then they would also sell these. It is called like the best and worst. This one is American Idol. They usually would have one season at a time, but I got a hold of season 1 through 4. So, I mean, look, it has top 1 through 4 reviews, top 2 finalists, worst, bonus disc, all that, exclusive interview with the judge. Can you not break my stuff?
I have no problem.
This is vintage.
It's amazing how the CDs are still like the CDs are still coming about even years later.
Well, even so, because as we talked about, they already did like an In Touch People thing. There used to be like a little magazine thing, and it was called like Modern Role Models.
Wow.
They did a whole special edition on the judges, and if you can see, like Simon Cowell didn't look bad, but this is publicity photos from season 1. So 2002, June 11th. 2002 was when Idol first aired. they had big sponsors like Nokia, AT&T, Old Navy, Subway, Clairol, I don't know how to say it, Herbal Essence. And you know how long this TV show was the number one TV show?
How long?
8 years. Number one TV show in America. They called it the Death Star. If you were on at the same night, you weren't getting the ratings. And you honestly probably would have got canceled. Like, your show wasn't going to thrive.
No.
Do you know one of the biggest viewing numbers of one single premiere?
How many?
35 million.
For
And that
what
was
night?
for the premiere episode of season 5. So that was like the audition episodes, which people
Wow.
loved.
Yeah,
I love the audition.
I love the audition.
We gotta bring them
episodes.
back. I want to hear a terrible singer. And actually, season 5 was the peak of American Idol popularity. So
I love watching the terrible auditions.
I watch them still to this day. They make me feel happy. I'm not gonna lie. Do you know that in season 1 they didn't have guest judges, but did you know that they used to have guest judges?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so season 2 they would have them on weekly. They'd have people like Donna Summer. They had Olivia Newton-John, Quentin Tarantino, Smokey Robinson, which I'm very sad about that right now. Do you know what happened with him? So recently, somebody, I don't mean to laugh. Recently somebody, or multiple people said that he raped them.
Oh,
He has rape
no.
allegations. He's another Diddy, but not as bad.
Was he at the Diddy parties? I wonder if he's on the guest list.
I don't think he's into men. Because they were all women. They were like housekeepers. Anyway, sad. Peace for all.
I think adding the guest host, not the host,
The
but
judges? But I
yeah.
think it also proved that although like people said, oh, this was going to be the death of the music industry,
Yeah.
these people are big giants in the industry.
It
So
showed
they
that
liked
it wasn't
it.
a biased opinion either from the original judges.
Yeah. Well, they also eventually went on to having mentors because they said like guest judges took up too much time, and but then they brought in a fourth judge during season 8, and I don't want to talk about that because I don't like that. And the guests, like the mentors, were like Dolly Parton, Elton John, David Foster, who went on to marry Catherine McPhee. She was in season 5. She was in second place. She was 19 or 20. He was like 40 something.
He was scouting for a wife, not a singer.
I guess.
Wow.
'Cause it's kind of grody. I'm sorry.
It's getting better.
Do you know how many CDs they sold? Because actually, American Idol sold CDs. I own them. I have them. So each season, except for 6 and 7, they did theirs on iTunes only. They had the first season. It was called Greatest Moments, where they had like their best songs that they performed. They had season 2, all-time classic American love songs. Season 3 was the greatest soul classics. Season 4 was called the Showstoppers, yet again, once their best performances on the show. And season 5,
My favorite.
mine is season 3, my favorite, is Encores. And season 8, which Adam Lambert, also their best performances. They didn't get on original after season 3. They really didn't. And also, tidbit, this is my David Archuleta. This is his Crush album, I'm pretty sure is what it was called. Yes. Unopened. I'm still mad he got second place. I love David Archuleta.
He deserved to win.
I'm sorry, but nobody hears about David Cook.
No.
I know David Archuleta. Anyway, the CDs, they sold more than 30 million CDs. And you know how much they sold them for?
$10.
Yeah. They sold them for $10 and they
Was
made
that for one season or for
like one season.
Wow.
So that's no, not in one season, but like I think
Throughout
over
the whole time.
well, this is as of 2007 from that unauthorized documentary.
Mhm.
So they made over 300 million in revenue.
Oh.
And Kelly's debut album, which had 297,000 copies, and Carrie sold 9 million units. So
They're bringing in a lot of revenue.
right, and Carrie Underwood is the biggest selling artist in Idol history. And this one is a direct quote from Tom O'Neill, who was the senior editor of In Touch magazine of 2007, also mentioned in that unauthorized documentary. It says, "It is easily the most important TV show in America. And if you believe that TV is the most powerful medium in the world, and it is, think about what that means about the power of the show."
TV really is the most powerful thing because it influences everyone and literally anybody, no matter their life.
Yeah, and with American Idol, I mean, they had They had merchandise. They had perfume. They had Barbie dolls. They had, like I said, the CDs. They had.
Versus.
That's not American Idol.
I know, but they probably.
They might have had tote bags.
Yeah.
I don't know for sure. They had T-shirts for sure. And then they went on tours. Top 12. 10? Top 10.
And then going on tour also affects or helps literally everything else.
They did. And also they had like people from the top 10. You didn't have to make it like be the winner. Jennifer Hudson, which they also branched out into other things, which I have, which is music. So Jennifer Hudson is the only person from American Idol to become an EGOT, and she got it from Dreamgirls. Her Oscar.
So pretty.
And actually Simon Cowell did not like her. Paula and Randy did. Which, I mean, I get it. She wasn't like vocally like where she is now, so I get it. Jordan Sparks, season 6 winner. She was the youngest.
I listened to her. My mom loved her.
She was in Sparkle with Whitney
And
Houston.
it's not opened. Still sealed.
Yeah.
OG.
And then Kelly Clarkson, when she won, they had a thing in the contract where the winner had to do a movie. She didn't want to do it. She actually disowns this movie. I love it. I think it paved the way for High School Musical. And I will stand on that hill.
Interesting.
And Justin Guarini was the second place.
I also want to point out that the CD sales and the tours and stuff probably helped the economy a lot because they were struggling in that time.
Oh yeah, no, and if you think about it, because they would have like thousands and thousands and thousands of people like show up for the initial auditions. Like you would go to an arena, usually it was like a football arena. You would audition before like 2 times, maybe 3 before you actually got to see the judges.
Mm-hmm.
And all those people were sleeping on the streets. They were staying at the hotels. Like the whole economy must have been booming at some point.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, the show was so big, it literally had pop references. Like on Reba, they did a parody of American Idol when Kelly went and guest starred. They had House Bunny. They said, "What judge or who do you think you're gonna vote for?" And she was like, "Oh, I usually agree with Paul and Randy, not Simon." Or Bride Wars, when they're like, "She's a Simon, you're the Paula." People like Paula, she's sweet. Simon is a bee.
Mm-hmm.
And then they also had a Disney attraction where they literally created the whole sound stage.
Wow.
And stuff. But that closed in 2014. And then also with help of social media and stuff like that, like TRL. Do you know what TRL is?
Mm.
So TRL is kind of like MTV. I think it was on MTV, like it brought back the big boom of it. But not only could you promote music videos and like artists, you could also promote like movies. So they had movie stars in the early 2000s going there too. And I think they had like voting stuff on there too, like, oh, who's your favorite like pop artist of the week or whatever and stuff like that. So I mean, it was a star making platform and all that. So I mean,
so we really went from just CDs to iPods to from MP3 players to iPods to all of
yes. I mean, and like I said with American Idol, I mean that had it's technology. So then from there, do you have the list? I don't have the list of yeah, because from Pop Idol, which aired in 2001 only to 2003, so it had a short live, was created by Simon Fuller, as we mentioned earlier. American Idol, June 11, 2002 to 2016, came back from March of 2018, and it's still going on, created by Simon Fuller as well. And then America's Got Talent, which includes more than just singing, but and a lot of great people come from there. Granted, I can't think who from America's Got Talent. January 21st, 2006 to present. Britain's Got Talent was from June 9th through 17th. They don't have like an exact date, at least from what I saw, of 2007. It was supposed to start actually in 2005, so before the US version. Both Got Talents were created by Simon Cowell, so he was doing that on top of Idol.
Wow.
That's why
He's
he looked
a busy man.
That's why he looked old.
That's why he had wrinkles.
That's why he looked old, because he was pale and he wore the same shirts and stuff. So
He's just grumpy.
yeah,
Having a frown will give you wrinkles all day long.
I guess. But he was dating young people too, like Terry Seymour.
He's trying to keep himself young.
Yeah, but then I don't know, because some people think that's a cover up.
Because he's gay.
No, because they thought he was with Paula.
I always thought he was gay.
I thought he was with Paula. I thought they were like together. I thought they were married because they were always kissing, hugging, doing all that stuff. It's a rumor that people still believe.
Interesting.
But people think that they had that cover up with that and the other girlfriend because he had a fiance. Her name was Megan with a Z. Don't ask. It was. Don't ask. And she was engaged. I don't know if they were engaged, but they were together during the season 9 finale. Paula came back to say goodbye to Simon because that's when Simon left. He left a year after she did. And then they said at the after party they were all snuggly and together in the corner, and she was nowhere in sight.
Interesting.
But yeah, X Factor UK started September 4th of 2004, and it ended in December 2018. I didn't realize X Factor was on that long. I knew it was big in the early 2000s. I watched a lot of the terrible auditions.
And then we still have things, how that progressed into today, like The Voice and The Masked Singer now.
Yeah, well, because X Factor UK came to the US in 2011, which only ran until 2013. That was created by Simon Cowell as well. But then The Voice actually came in 2011. But, I mean, I guess you can definitely say that probably American Idol, probably in Pop Idol and stuff like that, set the ground because they had actually Idol all over the world. Like, they had, like, it in, like, the Middle East.
Wow.
They had it like all these other places, and because actually The Voice was originally created by John De Mol Jr. and Roel van Velzen. I don't know how to say it, but they're Dutch,
Interesting.
so they probably were inspired by all that other stuff.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, if you're on like a TV show, as it says, like they had like Drake and Josh in like Mexico, so they probably had somewhat of U.S. coverage of, you know, Idol and all that then. That's
really interesting.
So, yeah. Anyway, you want to hand me one of them CDs? Because I think I'm going to play us out. Hand me the season 3 because that's the best season. So, here we go. Season 3, Showstoppers. And we're going to end this with Fantasia Barrino. If it plays. Please play.
I hear it spinning.
I hear it spinning too. Hello? Okay, maybe not.
Here. Technology has upgraded us, so now we have YouTube.
Alright. Search. Oh, okay. Fantasia Chain of Fools, American Idol. Well, since CD player isn't working, and actually mine broke from 2004 just a little bit ago. Hit it.
With Aretha.